and also here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Let me go back here. We're good. Let me double check things are working nicely here. 1 second. Let's do this bigger. Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm seeing some people, some familiar faces here. So, hey Scott, hey Jason. Jason will be in Costa Rica next week. Is it next week? Yeah, I'll be visiting Costa Rica next week. So great to see you here. And Magdiel, let me know where you're tuning in from, everyone watching this live stream. EJ, where are you tuning in from? I see Chandra also joining. Gilami, I hope that's how you pronounce your name, is asking for a better integration in between XD and Illustrator, and I can talk about that in a second. Philippines, hey EJ, hello from California. Spokane, nice. Hello Jeff. All right, things are looking good here. So, all right, so this is it. We're back Monday, August 6th, and this is Adobe XD Weekly. Hey guys, good morning again, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. Please let me know where you are right now, which country, which city. Really curious to see. I see some familiar names, Scott, Jason, and people from all over the world already joining here. I see one guy from Poland, Bortos, I think that's how you pronounce your name. Jordan, Vancouver, Canada, Germany. Hey Germany, Paul. Fabian from California. I'm also streaming from California. Sweden, Thomas, Jeff Scott. All right, lots of good people here. All right, so first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Demian Borba. I work on XD since the very beginning in 2015. When I joined the team was small and it grew, and now we have this amazing team dedicated to XD, and every month there's a new update. My role today is called Strategic Development Manager, so I visit customers, I listen to and I bring all that feedback back to the team. And I also do community evangelism, so if you have questions on XD about roadmap, about any like feature requests that you have, please ask. I will answer the best way I can, and if I don't have the answer, I will find the answer for you. This is really for you guys. This is every Monday. It's Lindsay and I. Today it's just me. Lindsay's back there in San Francisco watching the chat, and she'll be posting some of the answers right there. And again, this is really for you guys. So please use this time to ask any questions. Every time we speak about something, today I'll talk about developer handoff and how, like, all the different ways you can do that in XD, and also about our create a challenge that's taking place since last week. And every day, starting very early, 8 a.m. Pacific time, there's a chance for you to get that challenge and get your hands dirty and just play with XD to get a sense of something that's more realistic, and I'm sure you will love what you do. So we're going to talk about that today. Let me see here if, before I get started, if I don't have any burning question. I think I have the first one about integration of in between XD and Illustrator. Today, I think one of the most important things to mention is that XD will never be Illustrator for very complex vector artwork creation, and XD will never be Photoshop. So if you really need very complex effects and very complex manipulation of pixels, then you go to Photoshop. If you need complex vectors, you go to Illustrator. That's how we see it. And XD is the hub for bringing all that together for UX design, everything that has a screen design component. And you can bring your, let's say, vectors from Illustrator by copying and pasting. So if you have a vector in Illustrator, you can copy and paste. Every time you copy something in Illustrator, it puts SVG on the clipboard. Then you can paste into XD. XD is really good with SVG. So if you have SVG in memory, even if you copy from the tag in the browser, for example, you can paste into XD and it will work very nicely. Another way to bring content from Photoshop and Illustrator is by using Creative Cloud libraries. So if you have content in Photoshop or Illustrator, you can add them to your Creative Cloud library. You can name a library, you can have like a micro library for each portion of your project. And then in XD, actually let me show you that so it's more contextual. So here I have my computer, I have XD, and at any point I can go to File, Open CC Libraries, and here I can access the libraries that I created in Photoshop or Illustrator. And here I can bring colors, character styles, images. The nice thing about this way is that if you drag an image from your Creative Cloud Libraries panel to XD, this is now linked. It is part of the document, it is in the document, but it's now linked. It knows where it came from. And then if you right click here and say edit, this will launch Photoshop, and if it was a vector, this would launch Illustrator. And then you open that image, you can then manipulate that image, you can again add your very complex bitmap manipulation there, apply effects that XD doesn't support. For example, I'll do a simple one like grayscale. Then as soon as I save, because it's linked, it updates my document. So this is a very good way of bringing content from Illustrator and from Photoshop. Perfect. So that, I hope that answers your question there. And another thing that's important to highlight here is if you have assets from Photoshop in a PSD document, you can open that in XD as well. You can go to File, Open, and open the PSD. You can also open sketch files and start prototyping right away. And later this year, we'll be able to open Illustrator files as well. So that's in the works right now. But again, you can use copy and paste from Illustrator. You can also use CC libraries to bring that content into XD. Awesome. Let's see if I have more questions here. Before we talk about that. Canada again. Hello XD. Brilliant, Jason. Cool. Let's see here. India. Florida. Nice. All right, so I don't see any other burning question here, so let's get started. So the whole goal of today's stream was to talk about developer handoff, right? We know that XD is pretty much the best tool out there for you to design a wireframe, a low fidelity prototype, and then you can do the high fidelity design right there. Then very easily you can jump into prototype mode to start prototyping, and then you share your link with stakeholders to get feedback and iterate. So you go back to design, you go back to your prototype, you make all the changes, and then you pretty much polish and you create something that's validated with real people, with your stakeholders or real users, right? Once that's all done, only when it's all done, all validated, then you hand it off to developers and you say, hey developers, this is all validated, this is design, this is the prototype we need to develop, it's validated by users, by stakeholders, this is how we do it. And in XD, you can export assets or hand it off to developers in a different, in a couple different ways. The first one is almost like the regular one. Let's say I have, let me switch to my screen again so I can show you that. Here I have a project that has a lot of artboards. I just created 1,000 artboards to show you that XD is really performant. And I'll be using this file to play with this. And this is true for Mac and Windows, so this performance is there for both platforms. All right, let's say I want to export this button here, and I'll open the layers panel to see that this is the button that I want to export, right, to my developer that needs to implement this into a React website, for example, or mobile app. It's more like a mobile app, so let's think of like an iOS developer that will do this in Xcode. So now I have this layer selected. I can select the layer, select the button, and then go to File, Export, Select it. Then here I have a couple of different options to export. I can export this as PNG, as SVG, as PDF, or as JPEG. Let's say it's a PNG, and like I said, we're gonna use iOS. Then I'll go to my desktop, I'll create a new guy here, let's say export, and then I'll save that guy there. And I picked iOS because here I will have 3 assets exported. I will have 1x, 2x, and 3x, right, for the big iPhone. Then I hit export. I can change the name if I want. And if I go back to that place and go to my desktop, you'll see that I now have 3 assets there, 1x, 2x, and 3x. And now I can hand this off to a developer. But let's say I want to export this one and also the sign in. I need to export, and even the sign up. I need to do like the dark sign up, the light sign up, and this one at the same time. I don't want to go like one by one because it's very tedious, right? What you can do now is go to that layer and mark it for batch export. Just click on the little icon there. I can also go to this layer, to this the second artboard. I will also mark that for export, and this guy here I'll call this dark sign up. I will also mark that for export. Again, I'm exporting the entire group as one PNG, so that's how you mark it. Now that I have 3 assets marked for export, I can go to File, Export, and I can say Batch. When I do that, I'll pick the same preset, and I'll hit Export. There's already one there, so it's gonna replace that. And now if I see, I have the 3 assets exported here. I have the button green, I have the large green, and I have the dark one that I just created in 3 different resolutions. So that's how you would do it, like the very manual way in XD, right? You go to the file, export, then you export assets there. Let me see if there's any questions here. Hi Korea. Hi India again. All right, no questions. We're doing good. All right, then after you export your assets, this is kind of the manual way of exporting. We also integrate with a couple tools on Mac and Windows. So if you go to the latest blog post that we had, maybe Lindsay can post the link there into the Twitter, into the chat, and also like all the locations we're having this conversation, YouTube, Facebook, maybe Twitter. Then you can see that XD runs integrates with Zeplin, Avocode, Protopie, Simply, and it's also available on Windows. So if you have an XD project open, let's say this guy here, let me select a nice artboard like this one that has a bunch of elements. If I want to send it to Zeplin, for example, here I have Zeplin running. I create a project there, an iOS project. I can go to File, Export, and now I see Zeplin here. And if I had other apps, they would show up here as well as I open them. So now that I have Zeplin there, I hit export, file export, Zeplin, then I can pick which project will receive this artboard. And now I can share this, it's there, and I can share this with my developer, right? It's right here, and then my developer can inspect this, right? Can click here and select the element, see measurements. Because it's based on iOS, you can see all the information about iOS right there. Even text, you can copy. Every time you click here, you copy this information to your clipboard. So you can copy the text, for example. You can see right there. You can add to your style guide if you want, or to your character style as well, into your style guide. So that's very handy. If you need to also make something exportable to be downloadable by your developer here in Zeplin or other tools, it's the same process. So let's redo that very quickly. So I'm here, and let's say I want to export this button here, this guy, this little guy, as my play button, right? Then I mark it for export, click on the little icon, or right click, mark for export. Now that this is marked for export, I can go back here, select the entire artboard I want to send to Zeplin. Then I go file, export, Zeplin. It's now connecting with Zeplin. It's now sending all that information into Zeplin. And now let me go back. And now if I select that asset that was marked for export, as you can see here, I can now download as a PNG or PDF, as a vector PDF, because it's iOS, it's based on iOS preset. If this was a web project, this would be SVG. And then I can just click here and download that asset right from here, right from Zeplin. And this is the same process. So again, if you need to make things downloadable here, then you just mark that for export. So that's how you could work with integrations. So there's you can use that on Mac and Windows as of now. But I think one very important thing to highlight is that we are making a lot of investments on the XD side to make it even easier for you guys. So let's say I have 4 artboards. Let me copy this. I'll create a new project. I'll then paste this. So here I have 4 artboards that are validated, approved, and now I need to hand this off to my developers, right? Here, right, and publish design specs. So in XD, after you validate all your work, then iOS app, you can add a password if you wanna protect this this link. You can also make it private, so only people that have specific emails will be able to see this. Then let's create a public link. It's now uploading that, and once I have that link, I can go here into my browser, paste that. So now any developer that has access to this link will be able to see the same artboards, just like we did in Zeplin, but now here in the browser connected to the existing XD document. And I can then click here as a developer and start inspecting things. I can click on an element like a text element. I can hover others to see the distance and go from there. I can also like inspect overlays. The great thing here is that I can also comment. So my developers and we can have conversations. Hey, I need this asset, I need that asset. One thing that's almost there, and I'm super excited to have that soon, is the ability to, the same way we were able to do that in Zeplin, to come here to the browser and download the asset. So the process will be the same. You'll be able to make things exportable in your document, and then developers from this link will be able to download, and that's coming very soon. I cannot wait to see what you guys will do with that. So it's almost like closing the loop. When everything's there, now developers can build it, and developers don't even need XD anymore. And let's say they need to ask for this button, they can leave a comment, hey, please give me this button. They can pin something to say this is the button I want. Then you can regenerate, re-update that link and that for export, and then they will be able to download that asset right from here. So it's almost there. You can do like plugins and all that, and we're gonna have more news later this year, but there's a lot of effort here in the design spec world of XD. All right, let me double check if there are no questions. All right. Yeah, Scott is saying that he's never used Zeplin, but it's very similar to design spec. Mohammed, when will be able to export XD to PSD? We're getting that question a lot, and I have a question for you related to that topic. If the with that XD to PSD export is to hand it off to developers, our approach is really to recommend people to go to the design specs here in XD, the link, because then they don't need Photoshop, they don't need XD, all they need is a link, the password or the invite to see the link to inspect, they need to develop the app, and even very soon download the assets as well. So that's our approach. There are no plans to have XD exporting to PSD. Of course, you can bring PSDs into XD and start prototyping, but the other way is not in the plans. Yeah, let's see here. Is any feature like one-click export all assets in shapes panel? Is any feature like one-click export all assets shapes panel? All assets in shapes. Maybe if you need, again, you can go to file export batch, and then everything that's marked for export will be exported. Hope that answers your question. All right. And also Nate is saying that he needs the PSD to use in AE, in After Effects. Hey Nate, we have great news for you. We are working on an integration with After Effects. So you'll be able to send your designs directly from XD into After Effects and then do all the crazy animations there. And even export in After Effects, export to body moving and use that in Lottie and all that amazing stuff that people do with After Effects in relation to screen design. All right, no more questions here. Cool. So that's everything I wanted to talk about in terms of this area of XD, of the UX world, actually called developer handoff, right? You do your design, you do your prototype, you share, you get feedback, you iterate, make all the changes, test with users. When that is all tested, then you go back to your XD document there, and then you share a design spec, and then developers can see that link and do whatever they want to build the app, right? That's there. The second thing I want to talk about today is that since last week, and this is not the first time we're doing this, but since last week, since Tuesday, Adobe is running what we call the XD challenge. So every day there's a design challenge that you can be part of, and it's a pretty fun experience. You wake up and you get the challenge. Every day there's a new one. Today is the challenge number 5, where we're inviting people to design a mobile app to help people order flowers. It's a very simple concept there, and it has a couple of requirements. The first one is that you need to, of course, order flowers. You can filter by delivery date, and you can also scroll through the options, right? That's kind of the list of requirements that we have for this app. But it's not just you doing it, right? We have a whole a group dedicated to this to help you. So every morning there's a live stream showing you how to get started there, how to play with it. And I have a page here that you can go to if you want. Lindsay can post the link as well. xd.adobelanding.com/daily-challenge. And here you can see how the challenge works. So this is a brief description. There's a Slack channel that has a couple of XD people there. I'm there. We have people from the Adobe Live. We have designers there. We have a lot of good people working on XD there to help you. And once you request that, it's this link here, or you can go to the bit.ly/joinXD Slack. It's a public channel. Just join. And then, as every day, you can get help there. You can get feedback. You can answer. You can get your questions answered there. And the way it works is you get the challenge every day, then you join the live stream in the morning. If you missed it, there's no big deal. You'll be notified. You know, as you learn, you know what the challenge is, and then once you have your work done there, you can post to Behance using the hashtag XD Daily Challenge. And there's a bunch of challenges. And like I said, today, Monday, August 6th, the challenge is order flowers. Create a mobile app where you can order flowers, include a way for users to filter by delivery date and then scroll through their options. So that's the challenge for today. And here, let me show you the Slack channel very quickly. So this is a Slack channel. We have a bunch of different groups here. So as soon as you join the channel, you can come here and you can introduce yourself. You can say where you work from, your name, and all that. And as you make progress with your challenge, you can go to the channel design feedback to post what you're doing. And people can comment. And again, Adobe people can help you throughout this journey. It's a pretty fun experience. It's a very good way of connecting with Adobe. So let's pretend I'm doing this challenge, and how would I approach this, right? I'm gonna spend like 5 minutes. I only have 5 minutes to go through this, but let's see how I would do it. All right, so I got the challenge. I know what to do there. One thing that I would do here is, I know it's gonna be a mobile app, so I would go to File, Get UI Kits. I would use Apple just because it's very familiar. A lot of people know Apple. And here I click there and I go to the website. Let me click there to show you what the website is. So this is the website where you can, as soon as you click there, File, Get UI Kits, Apple iOS, you'll take you to this website. That's just a link where you can download a bunch of assets in different formats and go from there. So here in XD, for example, you can download this one for XD. I already did that, so I just go here, and it's a DMG that has a couple things, the Apple one specifically. He has the files that you can use. He has a link for you to download the font, San Francisco Pro font, and this is a font that's used by iOS 12, so San Francisco fonts, and you can see more information about the font. You can download them here. Then going back to the files, you can now, for example, let's say I want to do for iPhone X. So I can click there. It's going to open the XD document. There's a bunch of documents here that I can use. I can also access the assets panel here on the left and see all the colors that are used by Apple, all the character styles, and all the symbols. One thing that they have that's pretty helpful is the tabs here, the templates, right? So let's say I will start with this one. So I will copy this. Now paste. And right there, I already have pretty much the entire scenario there for me. And this is gonna be, let me bid this because this is gonna be kind of the after I get there. One thing that you notice right off the bat is that I have this symbol that has the iPhone 10 looking for. I'll delete that for now, and I'll also delete this, guys. Let me go back. I will break this into a regular group so I can delete. And because it was a symbol before, meaning that once it's a symbol, things are reflected and reused. So let me delete this as well. All right, so let's say this is, I'll call this app Happy Wife. I know, flower apps, right? And then I only need to order, right? So I don't need this bottom bar for now. And let's say this is option, I'll call it flower. Let's call this magic flower. And this will be back, right? So as you can see very easily, I was able to get two screens just by using the template, right? And it's using the Apple guidelines, this is the right font and everything. So now what I need is a place for me to add images and title and description, right? Let's say this is the first option here. So let me sort of card that I can use here with an image. Probably not, but I know that Apple does something like, let me go here, almost like something like this, and then I would do like a rounded corner, and let's do like a light gray like that, no border, shadow, and here I will, let me do a thin border just to make sure it's there. Then I can do another one. Of course I can use the repeat grid tool here to get to that scenario. I can scroll to the right and I will copy this. This is gonna be magic flower. I will make this smaller by using the shortcut here, Command Shift greater than, and I can also do, let me copy this, place that there, move it here, and change the, and here I'll do like, this is $25. And the last thing is that button, right, to order, I don't know, something like that. Actually they have a button there in the UI kit, so let me go to the UI kit and try to get that button. Let me find one that's a single one. There we go. Let me get that, copy, go back to my project, and this is gonna be order now, and I will do like $25. And this is gonna be another color, let's say it's a pink. I can even use gradient if I want to make it nicer, like that, and the text here will be white to be easier to read. Order now. I'll remove the price here. So as you can see, I'm creating a scenario where I have a bunch of elements. That one thing that can help here is select the artboard and use the layout grid to make sure things are aligned to the grid. So let me align this to that grid, this to this one, and as you can see, things are now more aligned, right? I'll move this down a little bit like that. All right, then one thing that I can do now is I need images for this guy. So I can go to, let's say, stock.adobe.com. I'm using Chrome. I could be using other services. I really like Adobe Stock. Let's say flower. You can search for a lot of different options here. And okay, this is a nice one. I can then drag that image from the browser. If I need to adjust, move there. I can double click to adjust. And let's see another one like that. Just drag. So very easily you can see I'm creating this scenario where I am creating a nice selection, and then I can place here. This is gonna be a bigger image, and maybe it's occupying the entire scenario here, and I can attach there and even make it bigger like that. But as you can see, it's pretty easy to do. And what you can do now, just because I don't have time anymore, let's see, if you need to start prototyping this, you can click on prototype, click on this button, then drag it to that place, saying this is gonna be slide left. I can test that interaction. Nice. And I can also make the back button take me to the previous artboard. So no matter how I got there, if I click here, it will take me back to that previous artboard. One thing that might look nice here is, I don't know, just trying some different things here. something like that. So it creates the separation. Cool. And I can have more flowers if I need to do like a big scrolling. I can select the artboard, increase this. I can do vertical scrolling. It's 812. It's right there. And I can have more elements using the repeat grid tool. Remember, you can play with that and now add more spacing. So very easily I can play with this and get to that scenario. If I don't like this gradient, what's cool is in XD you can go back to your solid, and then because it's a repeat grid, all the colors will be reflected there. Just to make sure this works better, I'll pick a yellow that's coming from that flower, maybe a more brighter one like that. And as you can see, it's kind of looking nice, and you can play with this. I did this very quickly, but I can order now, and you can do the filtering and all that. Then once I have this done, I can share a prototype link here, publish a prototype. I can export screenshots like we saw. You can export specific artboards as a screenshot to add to your Behance project. You can also create a public link here, and once you have your public link created with this prototype on Behance, you can also add the code to host this prototype. So on Behance, you can, it's just an iframe, so you can add this to Behance and people will be able to write from Behance. So that's it. That's all I had for you guys today. Design specs for developer handoff. Please use that. If you have feedback, let us know on user voice, on Twitter. We're really listening, or here on Facebook or YouTube. We're really listening to you guys. Very soon developers will be able to download assets from that link, which will be awesome, and then they will have everything they need. All right. Let me see if I have any burn question here before I start, before I end this. Let me go back to my main screen here. All right, let me go back. Is any option XD to principal? No, not really. Move through Pundi. The whole idea is to send your assets to After Effects, and then in After Effects you can do your crazy animations there. That can even become code with body movement, for example. Do you have any update on shared libraries feature? We are working on improving how you can share XD, so stay tuned for that, Jason. We'll have more news later. Then any option for InVision Studio? Another area that we are investing a lot in XD is the ability to animate elements within the same artboard, and we're gonna have more news later this year. If you follow Andrew Shorten, the Senior Director for Product Management for XD, he gives some sneaks of that, so you can see that actually running. And yeah, we're really focused on working on that. All right. Micro interactions, yeah, that's coming, just like I said. And let's see. I think that's all. It was nice today. Not a lot of questions, but good questions. And hope you enjoyed this stream. And we'll be here again next Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. So thanks a lot for watching. Give us a like if you enjoyed this. Give us feedback as you play with XD. Go do the challenge. It's a great opportunity to interact with the team. And I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.